Should you rent or buy your home? And if you already own one, should you sell it? Well, it seems like everyone has their opinion, from Grant Cardone to Dan Lok to Dave Ramsey to Robert Kiyosaki. Well, once and for all, by the end of this video, you are going to know what's right for you.
I would tell everybody watching right now, 99% of the people watching right now, you don't buy a house.
So should you buy or should you rent? Now, I believe it's a stupid debate.
The problem with believing a fantasy is it'll screw up your finances.
Yes, sir.
Some say that paying rent, oh, that's just like throwing money away. No, that is categorically false. Hi, I'm Keith Weinhold. This is Get Rich Education. If a home costs less than $250 to $300K, own it. And if it costs more than $250 to $300K, pay rent. Hey, put a YouTube like on this video if you're getting some good value from it already. It often makes more financial sense for you to rent your home rather than own it. In fact, the greatest selling financial author of all time, Robert Kiyosaki, famously says a house is not an asset, it is a liability, because an asset puts money into your pocket every month, and a house takes money out of your pocket every month.
In 1997, I wrote in Rich Dad Poor Dad, your house is not an asset. And at that point, every realtor stopped sending me Christmas cards.
Some say that paying rent, oh, that's just like throwing money away. Paying rent is not throwing money away. Look, if you just spent $500 to rent an airplane seat to fly from Boston to San Francisco for 6 hours, no one says that that was throwing money away, and a home is more necessary than an airplane seat. Though owning a home is often a poor financial investment, you still tie up a lot of money in your humble abodes. USA Today recently reported that a whopping 2/3 of millennials have substantial home buyer regret.
If you're trying to get someplace in your life financially, if you're trying to progress financially, don't buy a house. Let's talk about the primary place where you live and you raise your kids and you have your marriage. Should you own that or should you rent that? I'm going to suggest to you that the best thing you can do is rent where you live. Rent where you live and own what you can rent to others.
You do actually have 4 choices in how you live. You can own your home, rent your home, live with your parents, or you can be homeless, but we're just going to focus on those first 2. To Grant Cardone's point, you're likely going to move more often in your life than you think, and renting keeps you nimble. Mobility is an asset to you, especially when you're younger. With a new job opportunity or a life change like marriage and kids, that mobility is an asset. Let's talk about equity buildup. Homeowners build equity, renters don't, but equity is overrated. Equity is unsafe, illiquid, and its rate of return is always 0. Equity is like a forced savings plan. Your return is 0 because the presence or absence of equity in a home has absolutely nothing to do with whether the home appreciates in value or depreciates in value, but you'd still rather have equity than nothing. It's overrated. It doesn't mean it's not worth anything. Houses make terrible banks. Houses are meant to house people, not store cash. Although most homeowners build that equity, it is, like I said, illiquid. It's difficult to access. To tap your home equity, you have to prove to a bank that you qualify again, and then pay fees, and then maybe wait weeks or months, and then you might not even qualify to get access to that equity anyway. Liquidity is important. That tilts into the renter's favor.
So should you buy or should you rent? Now, I believe it's a stupid debate. Here's why. Because it depends on where you are at in life, it depends on your income and also your goal.
You know, time and opportunity cost is a big one. A lot of homeowners tie up a big chunk of cash in this 20% down payment. Like I've said, equity are low use, 0 return dollars. See, that money, that could actually be earning a return for you somewhere else. You know, a lot of real movers and shakers in this world that are innovative and are doing things, they're renters. They don't own a home. They wouldn't take their time to yank sidewalk weeds or go online or go to Home Depot and look for furnace filters or air conditioner filters, or, go up on the roof and remove moss. I mean, their time is worth a lot, and your time should be worth a lot to you. It's just something you need to factor in. Time and opportunity cost is a huge one. You get wrapped up doing a lot of those things with a home, more so than you often think.
A lot of people think, especially I'm seeing this younger generation wanting to jump into purchasing a home, but they're not in a position and ready to purchase a home. So
the home becomes a curse instead of a blessing.
There you go, Dave. I was just about to say that.
The problem with believing a fantasy is it'll screw up your finances.
Yeah, I actually find myself somewhat agreeing with Dave here, believe it or not. That is truly a rarity that I agree with him on something here. I think it really comes down to sunk cost, an overlooked killer for homeowners. Sunk cost, mortgage loan closing costs, and constant home maintenance and repair.
A few minutes later.
Property taxes and bills for utility and landscaping and snow removal.
15 minutes later.
And replacing obsolete fixtures and appliances and roofing and
3 hours later.
Painting costs, they're never fully recouped. And then maybe every 15 years or so, a home or a kitchen or bathroom, it looks dated if you don't make some of those upgrades. More sunk costs into the home that you rarely, if ever, recoup. When it comes to price and rent to value ratio, I discussed that dividing line earlier. If a home costs less than $250 to $300K, own it. If it costs more than that, rent it. Also, if monthly rent is less than $700 per $100K of home, it makes more sense for you to be a renter in it, because that is a low proportion of rent to pay in comparison to a high purchase price. But if rent costs more, then it's typically better for you to own it rather than pay that higher rent proportionally to the value of the property that you have the benefit of enjoying. Put a YouTube like on this video if you're getting some good value from it. I'd really appreciate the like. That tells me and it tells YouTube that you like the video. Personal cash flow is a big one. If it costs substantially more to own a place than it does rent a place, then rent it, and vice versa. Homeowners that divert too much of their personal cash flow into payment for a home, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, utilities, all those other expenses, they become house poor. Don't become house poor and divert too much of your income into a housing payment. This stifles your opportunity to travel and invest and provide opportunity for your family. You want to have some personal cash flow after your housing payment. A lot of people don't think about natural disasters until they happen. Areas that are subject to earthquakes or hurricanes or floods, those conditions clearly tilt toward the renter's advantage. Even if homeowners are adequately insured, they still need to do things like manage a claim and so on. Natural disasters, it's still better off to be a renter in that case. Regionally, it makes more sense to rent on those high-priced U.S. coastal markets and to be a homeowner in the heartland, but there are numerous exceptions to that. When it comes to control, homeowners have the advantage. I mean, for you to have the peace of mind that knowing a landlord cannot tell you to move with 30, 45, or 60 days notice, that is priceless to some people. You kind of have this feeling of belonging and an anchor. As a homeowner, you can paint a wall whatever color you want, or you can knock out a wall or renovate your kitchen or add a fence or greenhouse if it's all right with the HOA. Make it yours. I own my own home really for this reason. It's that peace of mind, although I don't think by any means that my home is a good financial investment. This is where facts and feelings intersect in your primary residence. Now, when it comes to income property, the facts, the numbers trump the feelings there. So when it comes to facts, what's really the bottom line when it comes down to whether you should rent or own strictly from a financial perspective? It's for you to be a renter in a high-end home and then own many low-cost properties that you rent out to others. That is the long-term formula for success for almost everybody.
I'm going to suggest to you that the best thing you can do is rent where you live. Rent where you live and own what you can rent to others. And the reason I'm saying that to you is because you can actually grow scale in buying rental properties that you can't in owning homes.
And Cardone got that right. He said rent where you live and then rent many homes to others.
Today I own 4,000 apartments. I started with one single family home not like this, not as nice as this. I started with a little $78,000 house.
You can scale and you can live well when you have multiple income streams from owning a lot of rental properties where the numbers make sense. Rental property is the historically proven way to build wealth, and you don't even need any degree or any certificate in order to do it. You typically don't want to be the flipper or the rehabber or the landlord. Buy property in the best markets that's turnkey, meaning it's already rehabbed, under management, and tenanted on the day you buy. Especially for people that live in high-priced coastal markets, it makes sense for you to pay a low rent where you live. That's a low rent in proportion to a high purchase price, at least. Then buy property that you rent to others in the Midwest and South, where you get a high ratio of rent income to purchase price, like more than 0.7% as a basis of monthly rent to that purchase price. You know, owning your home, that doesn't bring you any more income streams at all. You can do your own buying where I do my buying at greturnkey.com. Buy rental property in the best U.S. states where the numbers really make sense. You do want to get pre-qualified for a mortgage first. Well, hey, I hope you found this interesting with this rent versus own comparison. My name's Keith Weinhold. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Americans are not saving for retirement. It's going to get worse as people live longer, so you need to think differently, but you can't lose your time. Real estate is the investment vehicle that has created more million and billionaires than anything else. Get Rich Education is one of America's top investing shows disrupting Wall Street. Your host, Keith Weinhold, is a true financial educator and has been an income property investor since 2002. Get Rich Education has created millions in passive monthly income for its followers. Now, Keith has a free course. Real Estate Pays 5 Ways. Sign up now at getricheducation.com/course. Invest in what produces income for you now and later. Use the link in the description to take the course for free. Real Estate Pays 5 Ways. Get Rich Education is on every podcasting platform and has its own native iOS and Android apps. Join Get Rich Education Nation to create financial freedom through real estate investing. Subscribe wherever you listen.